A car spins in place like a tank. Then it drives into a lake and floats. Then it climbs out on the other side and keeps going. This isn't a concept video. This is a production SUV sold to real buyers in China right now for a fraction of what a Range Rover or a Mercedes G-Class costs fully loaded. A few hundred miles away, a Chinese sedan lines up against a Porsche 911 Turbo in a quarter-mile drag race. The BYD keeps pace the whole way down the strip. Its sticker price back home is under $40,000. Somewhere else in the same country, a sleek estate car with the silhouette of a Porsche Panamera goes on sale for less than a third of what a Panamera costs. Not a stripped-down version, one with more horsepower. None of this should be possible. Luxury cars are expensive because luxury is expensive to build. Small production runs, hand-finished interiors, years of engineering poured into a handful of models. That's the rule every buyer has accepted for decades. If you want a car that looks and drives like money, you pay like it. That rule held up so long that a badge alone could add tens of thousands of dollars to a car's price before a single option was chosen. Even in China, the world's largest car market, buyers paid that premium for years. Not anymore. BYD just broke that rule 3 times in a row with 3 completely different cars. So the real question isn't whether these cars are impressive, it's how a company can sell this much performance and technology for this little money without the corners you'd expect it to cut. Start with the belief itself. Legacy luxury brands set prices the way they always have. A portion of that price pays for engineering. A portion pays for the badge. And a large portion pays for something buyers rarely think about: the supply chain behind the car. Porsche doesn't make its own batteries. BMW doesn't make its own chips. Mercedes doesn't build the semiconductors that run its infotainment system. Every one of those components comes from an outside supplier, and every outside supplier adds a margin on top of their own cost. By the time a battery pack, a set of chips, and a drive motor reach a German factory floor, 3 or 4 companies have already taken their cut. That's not a flaw. It's simply how the industry has worked for a century. BYD doesn't play by that structure, and that's the first real obstacle worth understanding. Building your own batteries, your own chips, and your own motors sounds simple to say and brutally hard to do. Battery chemistry alone has bankrupt companies that tried to shortcut it. Automotive-grade semiconductors take years to certify for safety. Most car companies looked at that list of problems and decided it was smarter to buy the parts than to build the factories. BYD started as a battery manufacturer in 1995, long before it built its first car. That timing matters because it means the battery wasn't bolted onto an existing car company later. The car company was built around the battery. When BYD entered the auto industry, it didn't need to negotiate with an outside battery supplier. It already was one. That single fact unlocks the first real discovery. BYD's Blade battery uses a cell-to-pack design, meaning the individual battery cells sit directly inside the pack structure instead of being grouped into modules first. Removing that extra step removes cost, removes weight, and frees up space other manufacturers lose to packaging. On top of that, the battery uses lithium iron phosphate chemistry, which skips the expensive cobalt and nickel that pricier battery types depend on. 2 decisions made at the chemical and structural level, and the most expensive single part of an electric car gets meaningfully cheaper to build. But a cheap battery only explains part of the story. A car is also its chips, its motors, its electronics, and eventually its trip out of the factory and onto a ship bound for another country. BYD builds all of it in-house. Its own semiconductor division makes the power transistors that control how electricity moves from battery to motor. The same chips that caused entire factory shutdowns at Ford and General Motors during the global chip shortage. BYD kept building cars through that shortage because it wasn't waiting on anyone else's chip supply. That same division now sells chips to outside automakers too, turning what's usually a cost into revenue. Even the ships are BYD's. The company operates its own fleet of roll-on, roll-off car carriers to move finished vehicles overseas, instead of leasing space on someone else's vessel at someone else's price. Mind to Port essentially sits under one roof. Every one of those decisions removes a supplier's markup from the final sticker price. None of them, on their own, explains why the cars still look and perform like six-figure luxury vehicles. That takes 3 examples. Start with the Yangwang U8L, BYD's answer to the Range Rover and the Mercedes G-Class. Its signature tricks, the tank turn and the ability to float, both trace back to the same root cause: 4 separate electric motors, 1 per wheel, instead of a single motor and a shared mechanical drivetrain. Building 4 motors only makes financial sense if you already manufacture motors cheaply in-house, which is exactly what BYD does. The same layout keeps the SUV stable even if it loses a tire, and a hydraulic suspension system called Denza P lets it lean into corners or rock itself free from sand and mud. None of that hardware is the reason the U8L matters here. The price is. In China, a 6-seat U8L starts at roughly 1.28 million yuan, close to $180,000. That's real money, but it sits below what a comparably equipped Range Rover or G-Class costs. Once you add hardware that most manufacturers can only buy from an outside supplier at a markup, hardware BYD simply builds itself. Move to the Denza Z9 GT, and the price gap stops being close. This is the car built to sit next to a Porsche Panamera with a nearly identical shooting brake silhouette. A base Panamera in China starts near 1.19 million yuan, about $163,000 for 325 horsepower. The Denza starts at roughly 335,000 yuan, about $47,500 for more than twice the power. That gap barely shrinks outside China either. When BYD priced the Z9 GT for Europe, adding tariffs, shipping, and local certification on top of its Chinese sticker price, it still undercut a base Panamera on German roads. The reason is the same one from the start of this investigation. Denza isn't buying its motors and battery packs from an outside supplier at a markup. It's building them in-house at BYD's own cost, the same way every other BYD brand does. Then there's the BYD Han L, aimed at the BMW 5 Series and the Mercedes E-Class. Its top all-wheel drive version makes over 1,000 horsepower, enough to keep pace with a Porsche 911 Turbo down a drag strip. In China, that top trim costs about $38,000. A 5 Series or an E-Class with anywhere near that kind of acceleration costs several times more. And the difference isn't the engineering. It's how many separate companies had to get paid before that motor, that battery, and those chips ever reached a German assembly line. Companies BYD simply doesn't need. 3 different vehicles, 3 different luxury segments. The same underlying explanation each time. None of these cars are cheap because BYD skipped the expensive parts. They're cheap because BYD owns the expensive parts. The battery, the chips, the motors, and the ships that move the finished car overseas all sit inside one company instead of being split across a chain of suppliers, each one adding a markup that eventually lands on the customer. That still leaves one more question worth asking. Cutting out supplier margins is one thing, but could BYD be saving money the easier way by simply spending less on engineering? The numbers say no. In 2024, BYD outspent Tesla on research and development, and by the first 3 quarters of 2025, that spending had climbed past 43 billion yuan, more than the company's own profit over the same period. A business trying to save money by underinvesting in its own technology doesn't outspend its rivals on the research budget. Scale adds another layer most viewers never think to ask about. BYD sold more electric and plug-in hybrid vehicles in 2024 than Tesla did worldwide, running factories that build parts for its cheapest hatchback and its most expensive SUV side by side. Spreading the cost of a quad-motor drivetrain or an in-house battery line across millions of vehicles instead of a few thousand is exactly the kind of math that turns a feature only the ultra-wealthy could once afford into something closer to standard equipment. That's the piece traditional luxury brands can't simply copy. Porsche can design a faster Panamera. BMW can build a quicker 5 Series, but neither company can instantly become its own battery manufacturer, its own chip fabricator, and its own shipping line. That kind of vertical integration takes decades to build, and BYD built it before it ever tried to compete in luxury. The pressure this creates is already visible outside China. European regulators have imposed tariffs on Chinese-built EVs specifically to slow this kind of price gap from reaching their own market, and BYD has responded by opening assembly plants in Hungary and Turkey to build cars closer to the customers buying them. That's not the move of a company relying on a temporary cost advantage. It's the move of a company planning to compete on these terms indefinitely, and legacy brands in China have already answered by cutting their own prices to compete on the same ground. Established automakers built their reputations on decades of engineering, brand heritage, and craftsmanship, and those things still matter to plenty of buyers. But the price gap between BYD's flagship models and their German or British counterparts is no longer a rounding error. It's the difference between owning the supply chain and renting it. And once you understand that, the question stops being whether these Chinese luxury cars are legitimate. It becomes whether the extra money buyers have paid for decades actually reflects what it takes to build the car or what it costs to buy all its pieces from somebody else. If a badge alone no longer explains the price gap, what exactly are you paying extra for? Thanks for watching.